Rec League Podcast. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your family, tell your haters. Available on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Radio Public, Good Pods, Pocket Casts, Breaker, and Stitcher. At Rec League Podcast on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. At Rec League Pod on Twitter. Episode 107. Available now. Yo, whether you watching this from Facebook, Twitter, click the link in my Instagram, or YouTube itself. What up, world? So, I just watched Scream 6. It's the follow-up to Scream from 2022, the 6th overall movie in the Scream franchise. It stars Melissa Barrera, Jenna Ortega, Mason Gooding, Jasmine Savoy Brown, Dermot Mulroney, Jack Champion, Liana Libertano. I butchered her name, that's my bad. Tony Ravioli, Samara Weaving, Hayden Panettiere. It is directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett. I'm trying to go off memory. I swear I probably got their names wrong. They directed the last Scream movie. Obviously, we know that Wes Craven directed the first 4. These guys also directed Ready or Not, also starring Samara Weaving. This is a year after the last movie, kind of, sort of, in real time. Melissa Barrera, the last movie is still fairly recent, so I don't want to, spoil that one. They survived a Ghostface killer attack, and they are going to experience another one, man. She's trying to deal with. Jenna Ortega is not dealing with. Jasmine Savoy Brown, Mason Gooding, they're the survivors of the last movie. They're dealing and coping in their own way. Melissa Barrera is frustrated that it seems like Jenna Ortega is not dealing with it. And then people start dying again. On paper, this is kind of like Scream 2 2. Scream 2, a Scream 2 reboot. The survivors are in college, and Ghostface comes back. But it goes deeper than that. The intro does something so clever. The opening, you know what the opening scene in any Scream movie is going to be. It took 6 tries for something like this to happen, and it threw me. It kind of fucking threw me. I was piecing it together while I was watching it, but I was still, invested. I was invested throughout this whole movie. I like where these characters are. They're sticking together. They're friends. They grew up together, so it's not like they went through some shit and they're gonna bail on each other. They are there for each other, even when shit hits the fan again. It's really cool to see where Hayden Panettiere's character is after essentially 12 years later. Even Courtney Cox, the last movie established why she possibly would be in New York. Yeah, this movie is in New York. That's what gets on my, I'm gonna sidebar for a second, but it gets on my nerves that all the promo for this movie was this is Scream 6. We're in New York. It's a new city. The Scream franchise has never left Woodsboro. Except for Scream 2 and Scream 3. Bro, Scream 2 was in, Ohio or some shit. And Scream 3 was in Hollywood. The making of a movie. The murders were happening during the making of a movie. 2 of these movies. Half of this franchise has now been out of Woodsboro. So, it's false information. But, Gail doing her thing, kind of, there are winks to previous movies with Gail, and I thought they were great. Creed 3, no Rocky. It was weird as fuck, but the plot didn't service a place for him to fit, smoothly, you know what I'm saying? There was no logical place for Rocky to fit in that movie. This movie is so about Sam and Tara, there's no place for Sydney to be in this movie. She's referenced for sure. Like you have to reference her. Like the last movie, she fit. You know what I'm saying? Scream 2022. There's a character in that movie that, okay, like this is how we fit in the legacy characters as they want to call them. But this movie worked fine without, attaching itself to the legends. And I thought the kills were brutal. I thought the killer's motivation it made perfect sense for this movie. A swerve with the third act. Like I love Scream 2022 until the last 15 minutes. Once the killers are revealed and they say why they're doing it, it completely fell apart for me. This movie kept me locked in from start to finish. I know that's why I kind of hate doing reviews. I do them practically within a day after, hours to a whole day after I see the movie, and I always feel like I have new movie goggles on, especially with the franchise that I love, and I love the Scream franchise. But I thought the kills were brutal. I thought the killer's motivation made sense. I thought that it was surprising and interesting. I was invested start to finish. I like what they do with Melissa Barrera's character. Jenna Ortega has become so popular in the past year. I told my podcast guys this. I forget that Melissa Barrera is the Sydney of this new waves of Scream movies. She's attached to the original movie in a way, and that I didn't hate it, but I was like, oh, this again. I thought this was a vast improvement over the last Scream just because of those last 15 minutes. It is flawed. I'm at an age now where I think in logics, you can poke holes in any movie. You can poke holes in the original Scream and it's a fucking masterpiece. You can poke holes in 2. Scream 3 is fucking Swiss cheese. 4 has some, 4 is holy and not in a religious sense. 5 is holy. 6 has some holes, but I almost kind of sort of loved it. And it might kind of the last movie had great trailers, and the last 15 or so minutes let me down. This movie had great trailers, and I feel like they delivered. I kind of regret this movie being an honorable mention now and not in my 10 most anticipated. But with all that being said, I will say that in my opinion, Scream 6, almost dope as fuck. Have you seen Scream 6? What you think about it? Positive, negative, somewhere in between? Let me know. Last weekend, whatever, I watched and I reviewed Creed 3 and Operation Fortune Ruse de Guerre, whatever the stupid subtitle is. Cocaine Bear the week before that. I am going to upload a review for 65 soon. Next weekend, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. The weekend after that, John Wick Chapter 4. The hype is real in March, folks. Subscribe, comments. Find me where you find me, man. Don't know where to find me? Watch these credits. Peace.